The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with uneasy murmurs. Representatives from dozens of species, some with bioluminescent tendrils, others with chitinous exoskeletons, all gathered under the vast, glowing dome. A crisis was unfolding, one unlike any they had faced before. For centuries, the Council had expanded peacefully, integrating new species into their vast coalition. Some resisted at first, but all eventually conceded, realizing that unity meant survival. But now, humanity, this young, unpredictable species, was refusing every treaty offered. Not just one, not just a few. All of them. They do not even negotiate, a Zelvar diplomat rasped, his translucent skin flickering in frustration. They listen, they observe, and then they reject. Councillor Virakan, a seasoned veteran of galactic politics, leaned forward. Have we miscalculated? Perhaps their culture is incompatible with interstellar governance. A reptilian delegate clicked his mandibles. Every species has realized the necessity of cooperation. Why do humans refuse? The silence that followed was heavy. The Council had offered peace, trade, technology, everything that had persuaded past civilizations to join. Yet the humans remained independent, uninterested in what the Council deemed essential for survival. They are not hostile, a Velmari envoy noted, his large black eyes unblinking. They do not wage war, nor do they threaten us. But their rejection undermines our authority. That was the true issue. The Council was not just an alliance, it was a system of order. If one species openly defied them and thrived, others might begin to question their own dependence. The representative from the Ralnok Dominion, a species known for its ruthless pragmatism, spoke with a growl. They advance without us. Their technology, their industry, it grows at a pace that should be impossible without external aid. A holographic projection flickered into view, displaying the latest intelligence. Human colonies expanding at an exponential rate. Warships under construction not for offense, but for defense, as if they expected the Council to escalate matters. The room darkened with apprehension. A whisper spread through the chamber. If humanity refused to integrate, what did that mean for the rest of the galaxy? Councillor Virakan sighed, her tendrils curling inward. If they will not join willingly, we must decide, do we leave them be, or do we force their hand? No one spoke. Because for the first time in the Council's long history, they had encountered a species that did not see them as saviors, rulers, or even necessary. They saw them as irrelevant. The conference room was silent, save for the hum of holographic displays flickering above the long table. Humanity's leaders, political, military, and scientific, reviewed the latest treaty proposal from the Galactic Council. As with all the others, it was filled with diplomatic niceties masking a singular truth: submission. They call it an alliance, one strategist scoffed, scrolling through the document. But every clause binds us to their rules, their oversight. We'd be nothing more than another vassal state. A general leaned forward. They're not offering cooperation. They're demanding compliance. Why should we trade our sovereignty for protection we don't need? The Council assumed humanity's survival depended on joining them. That assumption was wrong. Humanity had spent millennia overcoming adversity, not through reliance on others, but through ingenuity and sheer resilience. Empires had risen and fallen, wars had been fought, and every time, humanity adapted. We've seen this before, a historian muttered. Empires don't conquer with weapons at first. They start with treaties, with dependence. And once you need them, you're theirs forever. The aliens didn't understand. They had mistaken humanity's cooperation in past trade discussions as interest in submission. But humans were different. Where others sought safety in the Council's embrace, humans saw a cage. One scientist smirked, pulling up classified reports. They think we're behind. That without their technology, we'll stagnate. But we've already reverse-engineered half of what they showed us. We don't need their gifts. We'll build better on our own. The Council had underestimated them. They saw a young race still finding its place in the stars. What they failed to see was the fire behind human progress, the relentless drive to push forward without permission. The Council would keep offering treaties. They would keep pretending this was diplomacy. But humanity had made its decision long ago. They would stand alone. Not out of arrogance, not out of hostility, but because they refused to kneel. The Galactic Council was no longer debating whether humanity was a problem. That much was certain. The only question left was how to deal with them. Reports flooded in from intelligence operatives embedded in human territory. Every projection, every analysis painted the same picture: humanity was accelerating at a pace that defied expectations. Technological advancements that should have taken centuries were unfolding in mere decades. They were innovating without outside assistance, without the structured guidance the Council had imposed on every other species before them. "This is dangerous," an elder counselor warned, his voice edged with unease. "If they continue unchecked, they will rival our strongest civilizations within a generation." There was an even greater fear beneath the surface. Humanity's defiance was spreading. Lesser species, long dependent on the Council's systems, had started to question their own reliance. Some were secretly reaching out to humans, seeking trade, seeking knowledge. The Council's authority, once unquestioned, was beginning to show cracks. "This is what happens when order is challenged," a military delegate hissed. "They refuse to be governed, and now others think they can do the same." Desperation crept into the discussions. Some factions proposed economic sanctions, an attempt to strangle human expansion without direct confrontation. Others suggested more covert methods: sabotage, misinformation, anything to slow them down before they became a true threat. But none of it was working. Humanity anticipated every move, countering effortlessly. Trade restrictions were rendered meaningless as they developed independent supply chains. Espionage attempts were uncovered before they could even begin. It was as if humanity had been preparing for this from the start. "They're not just resisting," an intelligence officer admitted grimly. "They're watching us, learning from us. Every time we act, they adapt." Frustration gave way to fear. If manipulation failed, there was only one remaining option. "They must understand the consequences of defiance," the Ralnock representative growled. "If they will not join willingly, they must be made to understand that refusal is not an option." A message was sent. A final warning. Either humanity accepted the Council's authority, or they would face isolation, or worse, open conflict. For the first time, humanity responded. Not with rejection. Not with defiance. But with a counteroffer. "You misunderstand," the human envoy stated coldly. "We are not refusing peace. We are refusing to be ruled." It was not a plea. Not a negotiation. It was a declaration. The Council had always believed itself unchallenged. Every species that encountered them eventually fell in line, some through diplomacy, others through necessity. But humanity had done the impossible. They had refused, and worse, they had thrived. There were those who still pushed for war. Humanity was growing too quickly, too unpredictably. They had to be stopped before they reached parity with the Council's most advanced civilizations. But no one could say with certainty that victory was guaranteed. "They are not the strongest," an elder counselor admitted. But strength has never been their greatest weapon. It was adaptability. Resilience. The ability to take what little they had and turn it into something greater. Then came the final blow. Humanity revealed technology that should have been beyond them. Weapons and ships built entirely on their own designs, with no reliance on the Council's influence. They had not stolen or borrowed their advancements. They had simply created them. "You assumed we needed you," the human envoy said. "You assumed wrong." For the first time, the Council hesitated. War was no longer a guaranteed victory. Suppression was no longer an option. And the illusion of control they had maintained for centuries was slipping away. Some still wanted to fight. Others saw the writing on the wall. If humanity could stand alone, then perhaps others could as well. The Council's rule was not as absolute as it once seemed. A reluctant decision was made. Instead of another demand for submission, the Council extended an offer not of dominance, but of mutual respect. Humanity would not be forced into the fold. They would be recognized as equals. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. Not through conquest. Not through rebellion. But because one species dared to say no.